Hey guys, so today we are going to be doing a first impressions on two products, that I got recently in a box that was sent to me by Influencer, and I'm going to be doing a first impression on a few of the Max Factor products. Recently I saw that Walmart actually had a display, my local Walmart had like a display on an end cap with some of the Max Factor products, and I was fortunate enough to be one of the lucky ones to get the two items. I think these are the only two that are part of that collection. The first one is the Masterpiece Max High Volume Definition Mascara. I have it in the shade 800 Velvet Black. And then the High Precision Liquid Liner. These might be the only things that are available right now at local drugstores, but we're going to give it a go. All I have for my eyeshadow is a bit of the Scandalized Shadow Sticks by Rimmel in the shade 011 Bluffing, and I've just scribbled that all over my lid, blended it out with a kind of stiff dome brush all the way up into the crease, and that is it. I haven't done any other eyeshadows, nothing on the lower lash line except just a little bit of the smudged face makeup. Everything will be listed in the description box per the usual. So I have zoomed you guys in so we can kind of get up close and personal and just ignore any sort of texture issues, any sort of dryness that you may be seeing, because I'm experiencing a lot of that right now. But we're just going to start opening up these products because I have not tested them out and I've been anxious about these. And this is what the packaging looks like for the eyeliner. Very pretty, very sleek. It has a different tip than your standard liquid liner pens, so this would be interesting. And it is kind of ovally type, rounded, I should say rounded, there's the word, rounded tip to it, which is different, like I said, than your standard liner pens that almost look like an actual marker tip or a pen tip. I have tried one, I think it's from CoverGirl. They have one that has a similar sort of exact packaging and look to this, so we're going to see. I'm going to tightline with a little bit of a Marc Jacobs pencil, and this is in the shade Blacker. I got this from Sephora. Yes, in the shade Blacker, so it's just a standard black. And I'm going to tightline with this. I do like tightlining, especially when I do liquid liner, because it just makes it much more intense. And sometimes you can still see kind of like a little bit of that fleshy kind of skin tone in the waterline. And there's quite a bit of contrast, so I do like tightlining first. So going in with that, we're going to see how this works. I'm going to use it on its side. That might give me a thinner line than using it sort of flat and flush against my skin, because I feel like that's going to be a really wide liner. And so I'm just going to go and do just a very simple liner. I don't think I'm going to do anything crazy, but then again, who freaking knows? And right off the bat, the tip is very stiff. There's not any flexibility, there's not any give with it. But even with that being so, I feel like the actual liquid liner formula is gliding out of the tip very nicely. And it's going on pretty easily. Now I think it's going to be quite tricky for the inner corner, because even on its side like I'm doing, it's still kind of thick, and also if you use the tip of it, that's also a very wide tip. So I think that this is going to be quite interesting to get a very thin, very tapered point in the innermost corner. So just lightly, I don't know if you guys can notice that, but that is a little bit on the thicker side, but no big deal. And you can use that rounded tip to kind of do little flicker motions to really get that line nice and smooth and out all the way to the outer corner. So I did have a little bit of a mess up, which is so typical of me. Liquid liner is one of the things that I have the biggest challenges with getting perfect. So I did use an angled brush and some liquid liner to kind of fix this one. So it may look a little different than this eye, but who freaking cares? I'm just gonna roll with it. So I do think that this has a nice sort of fluid motion when you're applying it, but I do think that the tip is quite thicker than a liquid liner pen, which I wish I had one out here to show you, but the liquid liner pens have a very thin tapered tip to it, so you can get really thin, but you can also lay it on its side and get a little thicker and sort of adjust the line. This, I feel like, gives you a very thick line right off the bat. And when I was looking at the packaging, it does say Procter and Gamble, which I think is the same brand that owns CoverGirl, if I'm not mistaken. So that's probably why it looks very similar to the one from CoverGirl. Also, the cap isn't very tight and secure, so I feel like if this gets bumped around in a makeup bag or in like a stash of eyeliner, I feel like this cap can kind of pop off very easily. So that's my 2 cents on that. So let's talk about the mascara, because I love mascara. It's one of my very favorite makeup products to use. Let's get this packaging open here. And I feel like mascara makes the biggest difference, and it just completes the look. And I think that it's just something that I never skip. So we're going to hope for the best with this one. This says high volume and definition mascara. The tube feels extremely light though. Packaging seems to be very standard. Let me show you the one. The formula smells a little, did I get on my nose? No, I could save it. So the formula doesn't have too much of a smell. This is what the brush looks like. So it's your standard kind of rubber, plasticky brush or wand. It does have a little bit of flexibility and give to it. It does have some kind of tapered, if you can see there on the very tip, it looks very thin, and as it gradually gets to this part here, it does tend to get a little bit wider. So it does have a taper point. I do recommend wiping off the tip of it just to make sure that you don't get any clumps, because that's how I get clumps and like smears on this inner part here. So just wipe it off really well. I'm just gonna start applying this just like I would with any mascara. I'm starting at the root and sort of wiggling it and moving up as I get to the tips of my lashes. And as you can, I don't know if you can tell, but there is quite a bit of a clump on the very outer corner. So I'm going to try to maybe figure out how to fix that. Okay, so I don't really feel like this gives me a whole ton of separation. Let me see if I can zoom you guys in a bit. Alright, so I have zoomed you guys in. Hopefully the camera is in focus. You can see a difference between this eye with the mascara and this eye without. This is just one coat. I haven't applied a second one, but I don't know if the camera's gonna pick up, but this does look, if I lift up my eye lid space a little bit, you can see a little bit of clumping there. Not a whole lot of separation. I do feel like I get better separation from my Maybelline The Rocket, which you guys are probably sick of hearing me talk about. And also the Almay One Coat Multi-Benefit Mascara that has keratin in it. That's also really great for just volume, definition, and a nice fanned out effect. I feel like this is just slightly kind of too wet. So we are back. Here is the one coat on this eye here. Hopefully it's in focus here. I feel like I got a little bit more separation on this eye. Don't know why, but I do think it doesn't really make my lashes point all the way down, which I've had that happen before, and that annoys me. But it's not my favorite so far. It's not the best from the drugstore, but it's certainly not the worst at this point. Now I'm going to be brave and use some of this in the lower lash line and see, and hopefully this doesn't flake or transfer or get kind of weird. Okay, so now that I have the mascara on the lower lash line as well, I do think that it makes my lashes on the lower lash line look pretty decent. I do have like a little clump here, and kind of in here in this inner part as well that I would have to kind of like pick off with my nail. So that's not that big of a deal, but if it's not something that's noticeable, it may sort of, as it dries, kind of get down into this lower eye area, which tends to be that sort of flaking that people notice. Alright, so I have attempted to do a second coat with this, and I do feel like it made this eye just a slight bit more clumpy right in this inner part. Otherwise, other than that, I don't really feel like a second coat really did much of anything. So we'll see. Hopefully, as I wear this throughout the day, I don't get any flaking. And if I do, I will annotate what I find down in the description box if my opinion has changed. But so far, I think, like I said before, it's not my favorite, but it's not the worst. If you like mascaras that are a little bit more on the wet side, then you might like this. If you also prefer a plastic kind of rubbery, flexible wand, you may enjoy this as well. I feel like I've tried a mascara from the drugstore that's very similar to this in formula and brush, but I can't quite put the name to it. I certainly have with the CoverGirl liner that looks almost exactly identical. Maybe it is, who knows, just the same thing but repackaged. I do like how this gives me a very nice sort of fluid line and a little bit thicker, so if I feel like wearing a thicker line, that's why I didn't do the wing today, because I do feel like this liquid liner is a little bit thicker than I normally prefer wearing. If you do not like thick liners, I would say stay away from this and skip it. If you do like really thick, sort of just chunkier looking liner, or if you really prefer that sort of graphic liner or something that can give you a very dramatic wing, you might like this. Again, not bad. Not my favorite. I may still use this because I can use it on the side. Just be warned with the shape of the tip of this that it can be kind of difficult to get a very thin sort of tapered inner corner, which is what I prefer, to taper it in so that it blends in with the root of my lash and it looks more natural versus something super thick and chunky in the inner part, which tends to make the eyes look smaller, especially when you have such thick liner already. So far, I just think it's okay. It's not the best thing that I've tried, and definitely not the two products that I would recommend as far as mascara and liner. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Hopefully I helped you out if you saw these in store and you were curious about them. Please let me know in the comments if you've tried these, or if you have any recommendations from the drugstore for mascara and eyeliner. I would definitely love to try some of your favorites. And don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up the video, and leave me a comment down below if you'd like. And also, if you are interested in following me on socials, I have Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. They're always listed in the description box per the usual. And a quick thank you to Influencer for sending me these products in the box for the Endless Summer box for review purposes. And I do appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.